Hello everyone and welcome to Tomorrow's Tech, brought to you by 3.digital. It's our goal to increase visibility of entrepreneurs and enterprise leaders who are driving innovation, harnessing technology and enabling sustainable business growth. And today we welcome on our show Director of Reach Australia, Isaac Coonan. Reach Australia is backed by US venture fund Second Century Ventures and is in the business of supporting entrepreneurs who are leading budding PropTech companies. So welcome on the show, Isaac.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, Isaac, what is PropTech and what value is technology bringing to the industry stakeholders?
Really good question. I think, PropTech has definitely become a bit of a buzzword, particularly in the past 2 years. So to simplify it, I consider PropTech any piece of technology that is enhancing the property sector, from residential real estate all the way through to construction. With the diversity and I suppose complexity of the property sector, PropTech can come in a number of different forms, from legal tech that enhances efficiencies of sales teams by digitizing signatures, through to smart lockboxes that reduce travel time for remote construction workers. It is definitely worth noting that the property industry is one of the largest contributors to the Australian GDP, with in 2018 bringing in $202 billion. It also employs more than 1.4 million Australians around the country. So when you really look at what PropTech is, it's very, very broad.
And how do you define the current state of the property innovation sector?
PropTech has definitely seen a massive growth over the past years. And whilst there has been continual growth since 2013 with year-on-year investment from the industry into the sector, it is only in the past 2 years where I've really felt the hashtag PropTech come to life and be felt on a global scale. I do unfortunately see similar mistakes happening in the PropTech sector that we saw in other tech industry verticals. Take Fintech, for example.
Sure.
There was this massive influx of capital from industry and government to really support the fintech movement. However, this investment sadly was done with very little structure, framework, or KPIs put on it. This led to a number of companies in the fintech space starting when they weren't really, I suppose, supporting or trying to solve a key issue for the industry. They just wanted to be in the startup space, and they were able to gain traction, receive scholarships, and even in a lot of cases receive seed funding without actually having an idea that was validated by the market.
And so what do you suggest are key points for entrepreneurs to take away in the PropTech sector to validate and also present a very compelling proposition?
Well, I definitely think for the newest wave of PropTech companies looking to launch into the market is really seek out and secure that validation from the industry. And I'm not talking about your peers in your co-working space or your friends that are interested to know what you're doing or even randoms on the street. I'm talking about validating your product with the end consumers, with the industry itself. We see a number of pitch decks come across our desk that say that they have validated their product or their concept with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 individuals. And whilst that looks great on paper, when you dig a little bit deeper, more often than not, a vast majority of those people who participated in the survey have no industry experience, no industry insight to provide any sort of contextual validation to say, yes, this product would service our market and we would pay for it. The second point is definitely look at solving a specific problem. And I think one of the best examples I have for this is one of Second Century Ventures' portfolio companies, DocuSign. They revolutionized, I suppose, the commercial real estate and residential real estate sales industries. Now, there is thousands of hours that are wasted in the sales teams by printing out documents, signing it, driving it to your clients, getting them to sign it, coming back, scanning it, so on and so forth. Just time flushed down the toilet. And whilst I'm sure there is a number of inefficiencies in that process, DocuSign said, okay, rather than try and solve everything, let's solve one point. Let's solve the problem of having to print out a contract, get it wet signed, and physically deliver that. By focusing in on a specific problem and creating an easy to use, easy to implement solution, they are able to scale at a rapid rate because it's a pain point that is very specific.
So in the last few years, we've seen corporates get very involved in these startup ecosystems and innovation hubs around PropTech.
Yes.
Do you believe that corporates in the property sector should be giving more money to PropTech startups and scale-ups?
Well, I suppose my answer to this, particularly for me, is yes and no. You know, in the past decade, looking at fintech again, you've seen a massive influx of human capital, financial capital poured into the industry with very little structure put around how that money's spent. What this has led to is a number of initiatives, spaces, and programs being funded that don't have the proper resources, management structure, or even industry experience to deliver on key KPIs for the corporate. And whilst I think that it is phenomenal that the PropTech industry is really engaging with the property community, I would heavily suggest doing your due diligence, figuring out what are you putting your money into, what initiative, what accelerator, what program, what co-working space are you investing human capital and financial capital into, and putting some really strong guidelines and KPIs around that. I'm a very big believer that you need to have KPIs in innovation. This whole concept that you can't put KPIs on innovation is, in my opinion, an absolute cop-out.
So besides money then, what do startups and scale-ups, what do they actually need?
What they need, particularly again, speaking just for the PropTech sector here, they need industry data. They need validation from thought leaders. They need to understand key problems and pain points within the industry so they can create tangible technology-based solutions that service the industry. So yes, they do need time, and with time comes money, yes. But one of the key things they need is insight. They need data, and they need to be brought in. I think one of the key takeaways for a corporate when engaging with a startup is also to remember to treat them like a business. I think, again, this comes back to you can't put KPIs on innovation. This is a business you're engaging in. They need to be treated as a business, as seriously as a business, and taken on board.
I think that's a very key point. And how do you look to extend the value of Reach to PropTech within Australian innovation hubs and startup ecosystems?
Reach, as you said in the beginning, Reach is backed by one of the world's top venture capital fund, Second Century Ventures, for PropTech, and by the National Association of Realtors. Now, the NAR is the world's largest trade association for real estate. So being backed by these two juggernauts in the industry gives us the freedom to essentially be Switzerland for the sector as a whole, which means we're able to collaborate and work with a number of different industry bodies, corporates, and industry-led companies to really service the needs of the property sector as a whole. Our core mandate and why we exist is to serve the property sector and to work with the best of the best in the PropTech space who share our vision. One of the key ways that we encourage people to stay involved, what we're doing with Reach, not only here in Australia and Southeast Asia, but on a global aspect, is to join our Industry Insight panel. This also is a great opportunity for industry leaders to provide that validation and to provide that insight to the class of 2020. Another great way is to just reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'd be more than happy to discuss what it is we're doing at Reach in more depth and assist in whatever way I can.
Well, thank you for joining us on the show, Isaac. Your insights around the opportunities in PropTech and also how corporates can best add value are extremely insightful. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Follow us on our 3.digital LinkedIn page and join us for the next episode of Tomorrow's Tech.
Tomorrow's Tech, presented by 3.digital.